nearly 5 months deep, 6 months deep, well, nearly 6 months deep. So thank you to all that have been joining the journey. The numbers are up. We're getting hundreds of you out there who are watching the Vibe Check each week. And so, thank you for those who are tuning in. It shows that Polkadot is alive and kicking and there's people paying attention. And I'll say this at the start of the show this time, but if anyone else wants to come and join the Vibe Check, feel free. We have an open call here for anyone who wants to come and get involved. Forgive me, I'm sick as a dog today, but the show must go on. So we're going to say hello to everybody that's here and get through, I guess, the week in Polkadot. Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
All right, Florentina, I'm going to give you the ball first. And we're gonna go with some of the cool things that you've been seeing this week. So let me just bring up here what you've been paying attention to this week, and that is that we've had some people pass some jam milestones.
Yeah, so M1, the first milestone. There's already many Jam implementer teams that had passed the fuzzer test. I believe around 25 of them, but now they've started the interviews to finalize milestone 1. And also at the end of the interview, the second part of the interview, to actually get one of the team members from each implementer team to get fast-tracked into the Polkadot Fellowship as a rank 3 member. So it looks like they started on Friday. They did the first one, and then there's 2 more this week. So there's 3 so far who have passed the test. This is the first one.
Is this one of the guys here, Jam Brains?
That's the second. Yeah, these are the guys who work at Parity. Their implementation. Okay. The other one was MBL. And then there's a third one. Yeah, that's the third one. Jamzig.
Yeah.
This one is nice because they actually wrote like how it went in the interview. You can see there. The grilling was tough and worth it. I came out a deeper, more nuanced, what did it say? Sorry. Nuanced understanding of the Jam protocol and the subtle design choices beneath it. So basically, they just have to explain and show that they understand fully the protocol, the Jam protocol, and the gray paper and everything. Because implementing it, like as some people have said before, like anyone can just use AI and do an implementation of the gray paper, but are you actually understanding? Are you the human who is understanding how it works and everything to actually make things happen? So I think that's what they're testing in this interview.
Super cool. Congrats to all those teams. I think this is what like where are we at in the life cycle here? Like, do we have like a revised roadmap of like where Jam can be played with, you think, publicly, or like where are we at in this sort of Jam lifespan?
Timelines, the most difficult question in this ecosystem, I would say. I don't have an answer for that. I wonder if anyone even has an answer for that. I know that like the gray paper, I think it's like almost version 0.9. So I guess the 1.0 is gonna come soon, probably before the end of the year. That's for the gray paper itself, but for like for Jam to actually be live to be used, I couldn't tell you. I don't know. Anybody else know?
No, I think you're right. TBD.
Well, at least we know that things are rolling, and there's obviously people still who are building. So super interesting. I've got another one here. Flipchan, who's not here today, sent us through something interesting from the Bulletin chain, and it was that this is an uncensorable podcast and audio. So I think I have to have a play around with this because I haven't actually had a play around with it yet. But he did send me some screenshots, which I thought was pretty interesting. That, like, I guess this is now like podcast and audio that's uncensorable. So I guess like a Bulletin chain, am I right here that this is kind of like the stopgap to the uncensorable internet, like before we actually get Jam? Probably has some of the functionality that we will see from Jam, but maybe with a bit more blockchain restrictions as opposed to what Jam won't have. Anyone else been playing around with Bulletin chain at all or seeing anything cool?
I know there's a few people working on some cool stuff like message boards and a bunch of stuff.
Classic Limo. There's some people doing something. When we know that he knows what's happening.
This is just audio, right?
I think so.
It'd be interesting if it was video. I mean, these things are really good, but they are open to abuse when you can't take stuff down. So it could be quite funny. But no, this stuff's really cool, right? I think we mentioned the other week there was like a potential torrent tracker one that was listed on the site somewhere. This kind of stuff's pretty cool because you know, other than pirating, there are reasons to use torrents and stuff. So it's pretty cool.
What platform? I know we don't know this yet, but we all know that there's like an encrypted chat app that's part of the Polkadot app. Not that we have access to it yet, but where is that hosted? Is that going to be like, where is that running? We don't know yet.
So let me see, because actually there was a post this morning from Parity that was talking about the different kinds of storage and like where each thing is hosted. So I think maybe this will be the answer. So it's chat message arrives in seconds, handled by Celerity. And then file transfer is handled by Levity. So, again, I always get confused when I switch. So Levity is Bulletin, right?
Yeah, basically these systems chains that we have, like Bulletin chain and stuff, is handled on there somehow, right? And there's different types of storage or something. I can't remember the specifics now, but yeah, it's one of these system chains.
But exactly, some storage is like ephemeral, like you just need it like for the moment, like for the chat. And then there's other things that is, I believe the default is the 14 days of it being stored, and then you can renew if necessary. But then they're also talking about a long-term retention for persistent data that needs to stay there for years. So it's a little bit like trying to have a solution for each kind of data that you need to store and for how long, and not necessarily using the same one for all of them.
Super cool. Like, I mean, this is one of the reasons if we're being honest, like I think the first thing that got me into blockchain was the idea that like number go up. But very quickly, I realized that this whole idea of owning your own data, owning your own money, owning your own identity on the internet became a very, very, very close second. And I think obviously now supersedes it, because when you're in the middle of bear markets, it's not, no one's here for the money, you're here for the tech. And so like, this is the kind of the stuff that like we hoped that it would be, that it was promised. And I think the broader blockchain and crypto market now is fairly integrated. I'm not going to use the word captured, but it's fairly integrated with TradFi. And so this is the type of stuff which I think is still cool, that the fact that there's still independent internet that is uncensorable and unstoppable, and those freedom tools that we all talked about. So yeah, very cool that this is all happening. And I guess another one of the big reasons why I personally am still here in this ecosystem, because it's probably one of the fewer places that's still focusing on this sort of stuff.
Yeah, Michael,
absolutely.
your comment on the app, I mean, even though it's not publicly available freely, like through the App Store or anything yet, you can still access it and play around with it through GitHub and the other links. I mentioned last week that I just started doing that, so playing with the desktop app and the mobile app. I don't know who or where the chat specific tech lives, but I will tell you, like, I had my first chat in the Polkadot app with Alice and Bob this week, so at least I got it to work. And I think last week, I don't know if we gave a number, but yes, there are interesting products and tests being displayed on the Polkadot product dev platform. But I saw a X post somewhere, I think there's more than 200 now. So like they're really getting added quickly. So it's again, it's a place that if you're interested, check it out. There's new stuff every day, play around with different things. Some of them are great, some of them are garbage just because people are experimenting, but have a look, build something, see where we go.
Love it. What about like sort of token, like asset-based stuff that goes from Bulletin chain? So obviously we still, like Polkadot Hub is still the grand central station for everything. Like, is anyone still doing normal DeFi stuff, or is this sort of all still going to live on Asset Hub? Do we see like an ecosystem or like a market pop up for this still?
The DeFi stuff always has an issue with incentives and stuff, right? So this is going to be an issue for Asset Hub if people, the DAO, ever want to have like a big DeFi scene on Asset Hub. You have to make it worthwhile for people to actually deposit liquidity or provide it yourself as the DAO. I mean, I guess people can put in a ref or something, but that needs to happen, right? People are not just going to like provide DOT against USDT LP and suffer potential like impermanent loss without some level of like rewards, right? We currently have hydration, right? So the Omnipool system is a bit more capital efficient in terms of like some level of IL prevention and stuff. So right now I'm like, I don't see why we would need to that much when hydration's a thing. But if there was a demand to have DeFi on Asset Hub, then there needs to be an actual strategy, right? Like people are not just going to provide liquidity in a normal like Uniswap V3 DEX or something with no incentives.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, totally agree. And so I think more of my questions was probably like, is Grand Central Station still the idea that Grand Central Station for everything is Asset Hub, and that's where we want everything to kind of like if you're going to mint a token now, is it, and you're not starting a chain, are you doing it on Asset Hub?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, like smart contracts and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right, let's kick on. We've got a couple of other things which we want to cover off. We've had a few refs this week, which I thought was interesting. This one, so this one didn't execute, from my understanding, is that Florentini, you're probably across this one more. The moderation team, they got approved through a vote by parity, but then it didn't execute because there wasn't enough USDT in the pool.
Yeah, the call failed. The call failed because there was only like 26,000 USDC left in the treasury yesterday when it executed, and they were requesting 83,000. So they've resubmitted it today, requesting USDT, which there's a lot more of. There's like 3 million.
I'm guessing there's no ongoing DCA happening right now or anything like that with the treasury interstables. That's probably all expired since I guess we probably really haven't had an active OpenGov thing happening. Or is there still a DCA going on that anyone knows about? Probably not a time to be doing it anyway.
I'd need to double check. It might have expired because there was a lot of different ones rolling at different times.
Yeah,
but that was quite a while ago now. I haven't looked at it in like 7 months, so maybe it's expired.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be the time that you'd want to be doing it right now anyway with where it's at. But yeah.
True. To be honest, like when they did submit this ref, like I don't know, a few weeks ago, there was enough USDC, but I think last week Snowbridge got paid. It was like 300,000 or something. So they probably like checked when they submitted originally, but they didn't realize like what was gonna be paid in the meantime. But I don't know about the DCA.
Yeah, we're talking about financial prudence. We've got an update here about passive salaries for council members. Is this correct?
So for the technical fellowship, basically has active and passive members, and they're supposed to declare themselves depending whether or not they are contributing to the protocol, right? So depending on the rank, as of now, they have an active salary, which is like usually like capped per year, and then they get paid monthly, most recently in Holler before it was in DOT. And right now, they basically, if they're passive, they get 50% of whatever is the equivalent of their rank salary. But this is proposing to actually cap it much lower and just do like a maximum of $5,000 or Holler per year for ranks 1 and 2, and everything rank 3 and above, all the way to the top rank, will only be 10,000 per year. So right now, like a passive rank 5 member, for example, would be getting 80,000. So if this proposal passes, then they would only get 10,000.
Is this an issue? Is this an issue at the moment? Is there a lot of like passive fellowship members who are not doing anything, getting paid? Is that what's the thought process is, or like what was the motivator here?
That might be one of the reasons. I mean, for sure, there's like over 50 fellowship members. I don't know that they are all contributing at the moment, to be honest. But there's also what we were talking about, the Jam implementers before, that there's going to be a lot of new rank 3 members that are going to be fast-tracked into the fellowship who also need to get paid. So that's also part of the budget. So I think they're trying to kind of like see where they can, cut unnecessary spending and actually use it for people who are actually going to contribute to the Jam protocol and everything. Once the relay chain becomes Jam, I think that these new fellowship members are going to be very important in the technical fellowship.
Yeah, I haven't looked at it recently. I imagine there is at least one person that's passive that's not working directly on like the core Polkadot repos, right? So even if it's just one person, I think this makes sense. I mean, you have people that are in the fellowship at like quite senior ranks that also work at Parity or work at like parachain teams, for example. So if they're working on stuff outside of like the core Polkadot repos, then to me, it makes sense that they're passive and that it's not like a mad amount of money. Having a retainer salary, I think, is good. But yeah, I think this ref's good. It makes good financial sense. The other thing is the thing about USDC, USDT. So as Florentina said, this fellowship stuff's all in Holler now, I believe, or it will be at some point. It would be interesting to have a discussion about like on Subsquare or whatever, about allocating some level of DOT to then be used as collateral to mint Holler, and then Holler being in the treasury and people request Holler if they want a stable coin. And then the treasury, the DAO, whatever, could then like pay back the position later on or whatever. I think that makes more sense than selling.
I agree. I love that idea. I actually think that that's a great idea because it's obviously betting on the ecosystem that DOT's going to be worth more than 80 cents in the future, and that we would actually then be getting this for 50 cent or 50% of the DOT on the dollar down the track if, DOT was to say double or whatever. So I actually think that's a great idea. Have we definitively now moved to a world where like there is going to be no PUSD and Holler is our coin, or there's been no update there yet?
I don't think there's been an update. I know some of the repos on like the Parity Tech one do mention PUSD. Like there's like an Uber Eats one that says PUSD, but I don't know if that's like just a placeholder. I think some people are like looking at a potential PUSD, like how the mechanisms would work, but I don't think there's like an ETA. So I don't think it's been axed. I don't think it's necessarily a priority, but it's something that like is floating about, right?
I'm pretty sure there has to be a new ticket because I'm pretty sure there already is a PUSD that has a more than non-zero amount of liquidity. So anyway, I digress.
I saw a Parity repo recently, maybe last week, and it was actually calling it .USD.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I actually don't hate that.
So I hate it. I'm not sure that's the evolution of PUSD.
Because I hate .USD, because on TradingView, for example, if you want to find like the dot price chart,
it's the pair.
.USD.
You get the pair.
It's like a pair.
Yeah. Why don't you could call it Poker SD or something like that, or Poker
US dot.
US dot, yeah. Anyway. Omnipool. So Limo, you want to run us through here?
The TLDR is there's some assets that are not performing very well, that the protocol owns a lot of as well. So the way that Omnipool works, basically everything that is in the Omnipool is paired against H2O, I believe it's called now. Yeah, it's paired against H2O. So imagine like loads of XYK pools all paired with the same asset. That's kind of how it's working. So if one of the assets is, I need to keep this PG, if one of the assets is not performing very well and is maybe going down a lot, it can like impact the entire pool a little bit. There's other mechanics at play, but that's a simple mental model. So if something's just doing really bad, then it's bad for the entire system, and might as well just remove it. And they can set up, whoever can set up isolated XYK pools. Yeah, for me, this makes sense, and I'd be high on this, I think.
So KSM is one of the ones they want to delist.
Yeah, I believe the KSM in the Omnipool is from the Kusama treasury, I think. So what I imagine would happen is if Hydration delists it, someone should confirm if it is Kusama treasury KSM, I think it is. And then probably there should be a referendum on Kusama that identifies how that got there in the first place. Was it a multi-sig that bridged it, or was it all XCM and it's in like some sovereign account or whatever? And then maybe make some isolated pool. So potentially it could be like Kusama has a referendum to use that KSM in an isolated pool, potentially against DOT, for example, and then Polkadot has a referendum to allocate some DOT to be in that isolated pool as well. So then it's a DOT KSM pool. And then if people want to trade USDT for KSM, there's mechanisms where like, if someone has USDT, it would then swap it for DOT and then swap it for KSM. That to me makes sense. Like both treasuries just put their native asset in a pool. I mean, they could do it on asset hub if they want to, but then that mechanism doesn't work as nice because there's no liquidity for USDT and stuff. But yeah. I think you're muted.
You're muted, yeah. Yeah, for me too.
Sorry, my bad. The other one, the big thing I'm noticing here, the big takeaway is that it's KSM, but it's Astar, and then it's all Bifrost and Bifrost related assets with VDOT, VKSM, VAstar. So, yeah, I've always been bemused by this because I've always thought that Bifrost was such a cool product, and it supported so much like TVL and liquidity from the ecosystem. But I don't think any time in the last like 4 years it's had a market cap in the double digits. It's always bemused me about why that never like really caught on as far as like market cap goes, because it's such a cool product and like so clean interface and so widely used in the ecosystem. So yeah.
For VDOT specifically on this, remember hydration has Gigadot. So there's already like a mad amount of liquidity on hydration for VDOT really, because Gigadot is A dot and V dot. So A dot is the money market dot, and then V dot is the staking dot. So removing it from the Omni pool really doesn't. It shouldn't like really have any impact because there's already a mad amount of liquidity.
Okay, so there still is a need for V dot inside the ecosystem, but it doesn't actually. Yeah, okay. Bifrost got drained on some pools this week as well.
A real quick one before that. So VDOT, even though there's the 2-day unstaking period now and people are like, oh, what's the need for VDOT? The fact that you can use stake dot as collateral is still like a big need. Also, in some jurisdictions, if you stake in dot normally and you're getting new dot as stake rewards, that counts as like income in some jurisdictions. Whereas if you have VDOT, which is just an appreciating asset, that's capital gains and it's taxed differently. So there is always a use for liquid staking tokens for different people.
Interesting. While we're on Bifrost, yeah, so they had a couple of like security incidents this week with some of their farming pools. I'm just trying to play catch up here. Oh, okay. It was substantial.
Yeah, I believe it's some account that distributes the rewards or something like that, which I'm guessing is this Keeper Vaults. Again, everyone should like research this on their own. I think that account got compromised or something. So I think the user's underlying assets are fine. It's just the account that maybe pays some stuff out got wrecked. But yeah, if you are a V dot or V whatever enjoyer, probably read this to make sure that everything's good on your end.
Probably need to just keep on top of what's happening with your assets there.
Oh, it's the farming pool. So if you're farming VDOT,
sure, sorry.
It's the rewards pool to pay out that farm, I believe.
Right. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Well, yeah. Again, it's always bemused me. I think that Bifrost is a super cool product and it's a super cool project. And so, yeah, I've always like every single time there's been like a bit of life there, I've always tried to jump in and sort of build a position there. But it's just, yeah, I've never understood why it didn't just have like rocket fuel behind it. That's most of on my plate this week. Anything else? Got anything for the vibe check before we wrap it up and I go take some more flu medication?
Yeah, super quick one. We posted an update at Nova Wallet on Twitter. So we're making some changes to how dot staking is going to work in Nova Wallet. So on our investigation, and you can see a lot of stuff on the forum of people complaining previously, some nomination pools and validators are just god awful. So we're making it so that if you stake dot through Nova using nomination pools, that you only get directed to the Nova Wallet pool. You can use third-party applications to go to other pools, and if you've got an existing stake in a different nomination pool, you can still manage it there. Because we're seeing that outside of wallet-operated pools, so Talisman, Subwallet, Nova Wallet, a big percentage of them basically scam users. So they incentivize people to join their pool by either like nominating undersubscribed validators or promising airdrops. Then when they get to a big amount of DOT, they add a commission to the nomination pool. So they take like 10, 15% of your guys' staking rewards. So we think this is like super predatory, especially towards like new users. So we're trying to stop people from getting wrecked in that way. The other one is we can't control if validators previously charge commission. Now they can't do that, but it was a big red flag. Second, if they're going to be chilled or not, because there's all these minimum requirements, which might increase in the future. We don't know. So we're making it so that when you direct stake through Nova Wallet, you always have some of our validators selected, because we can control our validators and make sure they're not going to get chilled. Because a lot of people do not change their validators like ever. So if they're just electing like chilled validators, they're not going to get rewards. So we're trying to protect people from falling victim to scams and then just not getting rewards because their validators don't meet the requirements.
Super cool. It makes perfect sense as well. And because it's something that's actively managed as well by Nova team, and said you've just got like these dormant like pools that people set and forget and still just trying to like scrape margin. So yeah, makes sense. Super cool work, I reckon. Yeah, good job. All right, everybody. I think that's us for the vibe check for the second week of August. We'll be back next week, hopefully with a little bit less of a grossness thing going on here, and we'll continue our journey on Polkadot. And so for those who are, again, shout out to anyone who would like to join or wants to come and share what they're working on in the ecosystem. You're more than welcome to do so. And if no one else has got any words, we'll going once, going twice. We'll see everybody next week. Thanks, everybody.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.